Start with the Mangalacharan. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, so we will recite our prayer for this week. We are just 2 more days away from the wonderful, auspicious appearance day of Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So today is Trayodashi, the 13th day of the waxing and waning of the moon, and Mahaprabhu appeared on the Gaur Purnima, which is the 15th day. So we have been, last week we were singing Shri Chaitanya Ashtakam by Shri Rupa Goswami. This week we started glorifying Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Shri Shachi Sutta Ashtakam, which is the darling son of Shri Shachi Mata. This is composed by Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was none other than incarnation of Brihaspati, the guru of the demigods. So he appeared, all associates of the Lord appear with him when he performs his pastimes. So all these pure devotees they come as a package with the Lord. Okay, so we'll recite this prayer again today and this week, and then we'll read the translation. Navagauravaram Navapushpasharam Navabhavadharam Navalasyaparam Navahashyakaram Navahemavaram Pranamami Shachisutagauravaram Navapremayutam Navaneetashucham Navaveshakritam Navapremarasam Navadhavilasat Shubhapremamayam Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram Hari Bhakti Param Harinamadharam Karajapyakaram Harinama Param Nayane Satatam Pranayashudharam Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram Satatam Janata Bhavatapaharam Paramartha Parayana Lokagatim Navalehakaram Jagatapaharam Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram Nijabhaktikaram Priyacharutaram Nadanartananagararajakulam Kulakami Manasalasya Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram Karatalavalam Kalakantaravam Mriduvadya Suvinikaya Madhuram Nijabhakti Gunavritanatya Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram Yugadharmayutam Punarnandasutam Dharani Suchitram Bhavochitam Tanudhyanachitam Nijavasayutam Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram Arunam Nayanam Charanam Vasanam Vadani Skalitam Swakanamadharam Kurute Surasam Jagata Jivanam Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram Pranamami Shachisutta Gauravaram. Shri Shachi Sutashtakam ki jai. Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ki jai. Anybody who can read the translation today?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Sarthi Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. His complexion is the hue of fresh cream tinged with kumkum. He is the ever fresh Cupid who shoots arrow of newly blossoming flowers. He bears newer and newer moods of emotional ecstasies. He is fond of performing novel dances. He makes ever new jokes that cause much laughter. His brilliant luster is like freshly cast gold. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is endowed with ever fresh love of Godhead. His radiant luster is like the color of fresh butter. His fresh attire is arranged in ever new fashions. He relishes ever new mellows of love for Krishna. He shines in ninefold new ways while executing the ninefold processes of devotion. He is permeated with the most auspicious loving nature. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is absorbed in devotion to Sri Hari. He maintains the chanting of the names of Hari. While chanting, he counts the holy names on the finger of his hand. He is addicted to the name of Hari. He always has tears of love welling in his eyes. I bow down to Gaura, this beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is always removing the suffering of material existence of mankind. He is the goal of life for persons who are dedicated to their supreme interest. He inspires men to become like honeybees, eager for the honey of Krishna Prema. He removes the burning fever of the material world. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He motivates pure devotion unto himself. He is the most attractive to his beloved servitors. By his dramatic dancing, he exhibits the characteristics of the king of Brahmos. He causes the minds of beautiful young village women to dance. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He plays kartals as his throat emits sweet melodious sounds, and the vibrant notes of the veena are softly played. He thus inspires the devotees to perform dramatic dance that is infused with aspects of his own devotional service. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is accompanied by the Sankirtan movement, which is the religious practice for the age of Kali. He is the son of Nand Maharaj come again. He is the extraordinarily brilliant ornament of the earth. His preaching mood is suitably adapted to the cycle of birth and death. His consciousness is fixed in meditation on his own form of Krishna. He is always accompanied by his transcendental abode. I bore to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. His eyes, the soles of his feet, and his clothing are reddish like the color that heralds the rising sun. As he utters his own names, his voice falters. He awakens a sweet flavor to life throughout the universe. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ati Mataji. Hare Krishna. So many wonderful qualities described of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even if we can meditate on one every day or on all every day, this will be so nice. So I know this is like the start of the spring season here. We did celebrate Vasant Panchami at the center last month, and like one of the things that was described was he's a fresh Cupid. He's shooting, arrows of new blossoming flowers. So may Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continue to shoot those arrows of new blossoming flowers, and may the devotional flower of bhakti continue to bloom in our hearts every day by His mercy. Hare Krishna. Okay, so with that, we'll continue with our reading of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. posted the link in the chat. We are on chapter 9. We saw yesterday how Srila Prabhupada has reached Vrindavan now. He is a resident of Vrindavan, so even though he's come here after a while, still not a newcomer. It seems like, he's feeling at home, because that's what devotees feel when they come back home, back to Godhead. So, let's see. So yeah, yesterday we saw, I think Prabhupada had visited Sri Radharaman temple, and he was just soaking in the mesmerizing beauty and the wonderful atmosphere of Sri Vrindavan Dham in his heart, with all the Sandhya Aartis, the ringing of the bells, the Mangala Aartis, sadhus chanting the mantras, devotees watching them take bath in the morning and then come and take darshan of the deities in the temple every morning without any moment to miss. So a lot of wonderful things that we saw yesterday of Sri Vrindavan Dham. So we'll continue. So after visiting Radharaman temple, he's talking to the pujari. Now he has given him the Back to Godhead magazine. So they both sat and talked. So we're continuing from this paragraph. Abhay then continued along Vrindavan's winding lanes to visit another temple, Radha Damodar. He passed old Babajis and women carrying water, a commercial shop beside an open porch where people worshipped as Shivalinga, monkeys sitting atop a high concrete wall and ranging from roof to roof, ledge to ledge, chattered and gestured as Abhay walked beneath. As the morning progressed, barefoot children had begun to appear more frequently, playing within the open doorways. As he walked along chanting japa, his right hand in his bead bag, his lips moving softly, hardly anyone in Vrindavan knew him. But as an elderly, cultured Bengali gentleman, he did not seem an unusual sight. He was a religious Babu in a town devoted entirely to religion. Abhay would regularly visit Vrindavan's important temples, and afterwards he would shop, returning to his room around 11 with vegetables for cooking. Using the kerosene burner and a three-tiered cooker, he would cook rice, potatoes, and some sabji. He would also cook chapatis. He would take only one meal a day at noon, and in the evening a cup of milk. When he did not have time to cook, he would take the prasadam of the deity. After lunch, he would nap for 15 minutes and then write. He rarely received visitors, but stayed alone, writing. Just before sunset, he would again go out visiting temples. At Keshi Ghat, he would pass by sadhus sitting alone here and there facing the Yamuna. The river itself was little trafficked, sometimes a boat or two slowly moving on the river's placidity. Sometimes a fish splashed in the water or a bird winged along the river, watchful. Keshi Ghat was quiet and beautiful, especially after the sun had relented for the day. Sadhus would hail Abhay on sight with Vrindavan's common greeting, Jai Radhe, and Abhay would return his Hare Krishna. When in the evening he walked through town, he would find himself amidst the vibrations of one kirtan after another. In the temples of Krishna, Rama, Chaitanya, Narsimha, or Shiva, in ashrama halls, in homes, even amongst groups walking on the streets, there would be kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He would often see Bengali widows gathered together in a hall. Thousands of them lived in ashramas in Vrindavan, staying together with few wants, wearing dull white saris, keeping their hair cut short, never leaving Vrindavan even for Mathura, wanting only to stay in Vrindavan, to die in Vrindavan, chanting Hare Krishna. A man would sit playing mridanga and leading a chant while a group of widows clapped their hands unevenly, responding in their childlike voices. The drum, the clapping, the singers, unpolished but earnest, made a sweet sound in the evening. As Abhay walked, no sooner would the sound of one kirtan fade than another would rise loudly before him and then fade behind him as another rose to meet him, a temple bell ringing formidably, intermingling with the drums, cymbals, and chorus of another group or a single person passing nearby singing his own Radhe Radhe. Even the greetings were kirtan. Jai Radhe, Hari Bol, as faces passed, as carts clattered by, as men joked or made their last transaction of the day in the market, and as stray cows made their way home, their bells clanging around their necks. Somehow everything was in connection with Krishna. And as Abhay returned to the secluded Vamshi Gopalji temple, There also he would hear kirtans, only more private, perhaps only a husband and a wife in their room, the man playing mridanga and singing one line for bhajana, his wife singing in response. Vrindavan was not ordinary. Every singer sounded sweet, in his own way, an expert melodist, and everyone sang of Krishna. Krishna was present in every occasion and event. Srila Prabhupada. The glories of Krishna nobody can understand. Similarly, Vrindavan, the land which is known as Vrindavan, also has unlimited potency. When you go to Vrindavan, you will find unlimited potency of spiritual atmosphere still. If you go to Vrindavan, you will see so many saints and sages. Still, they are worshipping Vrindavan Dham. As Lord Krishna is worshipable, similarly, his place, Vrindavan, is as good as Krishna. It is also worshipable. Commuting became difficult. He would take the morning train into Delhi and, having nowhere to stay, return to Vrindavan the same night. That didn't give him much time in Delhi and it was expensive. At first, he had stayed with Mr. Gupta, a pious gentleman who studied the Gita regularly and afforded sadhus a place to stay. Abhay had explained to Mr. Gupta about his back to Godhead and his desires to preach in the West. It had been a good arrangement and Abhay had kept to himself writing. But in time, another sadhu took the room. Even with his minimal personal expenses, it was difficult to raise enough in donations to cover traveling, printing, and mailing. Giving copies of Back to Godhead away wasn't difficult, and he was doing that in Vrindavan. But working alone, writing, editing, selling, soliciting donations was too much. The printer, Mr. Jain, was amazed, wondering why a person would put himself through such difficulties printing a newspaper he couldn't afford. Srila Prabhupada. I worked for Back to Godhead day and night. In the beginning, when I was a householder, I did not care if somebody paid or not paid. I used to distribute liberally. But when I left my household life and I was living alone, sometimes in Vrindavan and sometimes in Delhi, or sometimes traveling for pushing on Back to Godhead, they were very hard days. After his 12th consecutive fortnightly edition, the issue for November 20, 1956, Abhay ran out of money. Mr. Jain had to throw up his hands, saying he couldn't print simply out of friendship. Abhay returned to Vrindavan, where he spent his time writing but with no plan for publication. It was because people weren't interested in becoming Krishna conscious, because they had no time that Back to Godhead had failed financially. Certain sadhus in India were celebrated and influential, but Abhay was not amongst them. Of course, the uncompromising preaching he had learned from his spiritual master, the chopping technique in which he openly criticized revered politicians and holy men, was not likely to win him favor and patronage. Don't flatter, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had said. Speak the truth, and if Krishna is pleased, then you will come out successful. Money will come. And Abhay had firm faith in this. That was his outstanding asset, his faith in his spiritual master. He was sure that by following Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he would receive his blessings and the blessings of Lord Chaitanya. Although for the last 2 years he had followed any path that had opened as far as it had led, he had remained one pointed, aimed at serving the order of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He was confident sooner or later he would obtain substantial backing, he would find a sympathetic audience, sincere workers would join him. A letter came to Abhay in Vrindavan from his disciple, Acharya Prabhakar Mishra, and it gave Abhay an idea. Acharya Prabhakar, who was in Bombay working as secretary of the Sanskrit department at the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, invited Srila Bhakti Vedanta Prabhu to join him there for preaching together, just as in the old days. The founder director of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan was Governor K.M. Munshi, the same governor whose wife had pressured Abhay to give up the Radha Memorial in Jhansi. But Acharya Prabhakar having recently established a friendship with the governor, intimated to Abhay that the governor might be willing to help. Thus, in January 1957, after assuring Mahant Gopal that he would return and that he would send 5 rupees a month for his room, Abhay traveled to Bombay. Acharya Prabhakar got Abhay quarters in the faculty residence and introduced him to various scholars and religionists. They then attended a lecture by Governor Munshi. What is wrong with the world? Afterwards, Abhay approached the governor expressing his appreciation of the speech, but stressing that it would take a spiritual movement to avert the imminent global disasters. Without God consciousness, even Mr. Munshi's work in the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan would be waste of time. Abhay spoke of his interest in reviving the League of the Devotees, and he suggested how he might work within the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan to infuse the life of God consciousness into the governor's cultural projects. Governor Munshi responded by offering Abhay a post as honorary professor of Bhagavad Gita. Abhay accepted and gave the governor some copies of Back to Godhead, requesting that he read them in his spare time. As honorary professor of Bhagavad Gita, Abhay began each class with Hare Krishna Kirtan and then lectured on the Gita, presenting Lord Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. But he soon found his post confining. Within the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, he found little scope for reviving the League of Devotees. Then, along with other members of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Abhay attended the 5th annual convention of the World Academy of Sanskrit at Kurukshetra, where 5,000 years before Lord Krishna had spoken Bhagavad Gita. India's President Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Governor Munshi, and many scholars and pundits from all over India participated in the discourses. But everyone there had his own thing to say, apart from the conclusions of Lord Krishna. So Abhay considered the meeting a waste of time. Since he was not scheduled to speak, since the non-devotional discussions on the Gita disturbed him, and since he saw that nothing practical would come of such a theoretical meeting, he left Kurukshetra and returned back home, back to Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll pause here for today. Any reflections, comments? I just reminded, I think I shared this wonderful song. I think some of like Srila Prabhupada put in so much of hard work, and he said his disciples who have served the mission selflessly for the last 50, 60 years, and like the next generation is getting ready to take on the baton. We see some young devotees, they compose, like, of course, Madhavas is a very good example. They compose so many wonderful bhajans and songs and recreating some of the old Vaishnava bhajans. Similarly, there's another group, this Bhakti Today, who compiled this very wonderful song that I think I'd shared with few devotees in the past, but I just reminded of that key. It goes like this key. जहाँ हो प्यार का मौसम, जहाँ सब दिलों का हो संगम, जहाँ मीठी हो सब लोगों की जुबान, जहाँ गुनगुनाए हवाएं, जहाँ गूंजे सारी दिशाएं, जहाँ हर नजर में बसते हो भगवान, मुझे ऐसे नगर है जाना, मैं ऐसा नगर ढूंढ लूंगी कहीं ना कहीं. So then it says, जहाँ जहाँ सांस सांस चलता हो हरि नाम, जहाँ हर हृदय में बसे हो राधे श्याम, जहाँ काले बादलों में भी दिखे शाम, मुझे ऐसे नगर है जाना, मैं ऐसा नगर ढूंढ लूंगी कहीं ना कहीं. So it just reminded me of how nicely each and every word of that song is kind of relates back to what we read today of Sri Vrindavan Dham. And it just felt like, as if they just maybe read Srila Prabhupada Amrit and took each and every word as inspiration to compose their song. But it's a very beautiful song. If you get a chance to just Google it in YouTube, you'll be able to find it. Hare Krishna. Okay, any other thoughts or reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. This is Anand. Very, very beautiful, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that beautiful song. Thank you for singing beautiful Navgaur Varam. My reflection for today was just, as we read Prabhupada Leelamrit, we are learning how many qualities that Srila Prabhupada had that were unparalleled and unmatched. Like we read about his Drid Nishchaya. And Drid Nishchaya came from the faith, the strong faith for his spiritual master. So, that was so important. Everything failing, but the words that he didn't change. He continued to write as he did because he had that strong faith that if Krishna is pleased with him, things will turn around. So that was a very important point for me. And then another thing was in Vrindavan, you read the beautiful just being in Vrindavan, you can be immersed. How the widows were there just to spend. They were prepared to give up their life in Vrindavan. And here, Srila Prabhupada was in such a beautiful place, in a comfortable place. Yet, for that higher goal from his spiritual master, he was ready to even leave Vrindavan. I mean, we are so indebted to him that if he had not left Vrindavan and come to this side of the world, where it was totally opposite Vrindavan, anti-Vrindavan, we would not have had the new Vrindavan here, and Vrindavan everywhere in the world, the new Vrajadham, everything. So just it is. We are. I don't think we can pay the debt back to Srila Prabhupada in many lifetimes, but I just feel that if we can do our own part and follow his instructions and follow by example how he led his qualities, then we will be able to contribute to his mission, contribute to Lord Chaitanya's mission. Thank you, Prabhu. So
Thank you so much for sharing that. So nice. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, that is really the test, right? Like when we see how much test he went through each and every day. Wow, this is like, and still sustain him. Like you said rightly, the only thing that sustained him was firm faith. That is where everything starts, and that is where everything ends. Firm faith, Adav Shraddha Tata Shadhu. So without faith, nothing happens. And having that firm faith in the words of his Guru Maharaj, and continuing day in, day out, every night, morning, waking up, just rinse and repeat, and yeah, like we see, then finally, what he was able to accomplish. And again, the whole goal was not to become famous or not to get anything for himself, right? He really, truly, genuinely, we see, like, from his heart, he had so much of love and compassion that he wanted to just see the entire world um, immersed in this love of Godhead. And that was the mood of his of Srila Prabhupada. And yeah. So yeah, like you rightly said, yeah, we should just try to imbibe that mood, and we can just be an instrument in his mission. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? Anything else you'd like to share? We also see how, like you also said, the other point of how things will start happening. Kind of, it's mystical, it's magical, right? Like the same governor and same governor's wife who had made him move out of Jhansi, and now kind of, so that's something I was telling yesterday also in the evening reading. Like, Krishna orchestrates everything like this. We think we can control this, we can control that, and how insignificant, tiny we are in this creation, not even a speck of dust in this whole universe, and still we have so much of ego. At least I can speak for myself, but we see how Krishna orchestrates in the lives of his devotees. Like he will make arrangements, and who will come before you today, what will happen in your life today. Like we don't know whether the next breath will come. So nothing is in our control, but we falsely think everything is in our control. So, but yeah, how Krishna orchestrates, and so like just the letter that came from Acharya Prabhakar, and he was again meeting that same governor again. Still not very successful meeting. Like Prabhupada still felt it was a waste of time, the way they were trying to take learnings from Bhagavad Gita, but it was not truly depicting the love of God. So, but the point is that yeah, Krishna orchestrates the lives of his devotees in a way that they are going to make progress if they are sincere. Yes. Anything else? Okay. Not then we'll here at 6:30. Thank you again for your kind association and reflections. So we'll end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavind ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thy God, Hari Bol. Thank you all. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Have a great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.